What's up, and welcome back to Nowstalgia Pod, your weekly look at what's going on in pop culture. My name is Patchy, and I'm here with my co-host Dave Martinson. Dave, I'm back.
Hey,
We did a catch-up pod last week.
no, confirm.
We might have done a catch-up pod to cover for a vacation. But wait, I did want to say I went to Red Rocks as a venue. Have you been there?
Nope, I've never been to Colorado.
It's incredible, man. I mean,
Awesome.
I caught Pretty Lights, it was their only show of the year. There's rumors that they might not be touring anymore, so they were doing a 2-night show. He what's it called when you do the wedding? When you say the wedding, what is it?
The vows, the speech?
He did the vows, like do you take this person to be your lawfully wedded wife? Yeah, he married somebody up on stage. And then he played a great set. I mean, I'm kind of phasing out of the EDM a little bit. I can't hang like I used to.
So is mainstream culture in general. So
it's okay. Very true. But it was really cool because basically everybody that was there was either a huge Pretty Lights fan or just like a huge fan of like Denver music. So it was a really cool vibe. And I sat in the back, and you could basically look over Red Rocks and see like Denver and a bunch of other cities in the background. It's just incredible. So if you can catch a show there, definitely go. I don't think that's a hot take at all. So we got a lot to get to today. Nicki Minaj dropped an album. Ariana Grande dropped an album. Mitski, the Beths, and we're also going to be talking about 2 movies, Crazy Rich Asian and BlacKkKlansman. But before we do, please subscribe to our YouTube channel somewhere down below there. Go to SoundCloud.com/NowstalgiaPod. Get all of our links there. You can go find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Probably going to be worldwide famous soon, so get it before we blow up.
And anyway, best of 2018 Spotify playlist. Do not sleep on that. Updated regularly.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, we'll have music from everybody we talk about today on that playlist by the time you're listening. So go check it out. Stay up to date. Let's start with the best. I saw your tweet, so I actually kind of want to give you the floor and let you stand for these guys a little bit.
Well, yeah, the Beths are interesting because they're this totally obscure, brand new New Zealand rock band, right? Indie rock band. And this is their debut album, Future Me Hates Me. And I was totally unaware of this band, like I am of most brand new indie acts, until Rolling Stone ran a piece about Happy Unhappy, their lead single from this album, as the song of the summer. And I was like, let me check this out. I don't listen to enough indie music. I gotta be up on it. And I was like, oh, that's something. Mm-hmm. That's not bad. Let me keep going with this. And I listened to their Warm Blood EP from early 2016. I was like, fuck, I like all 6 of these songs. I never say that about indie music. And this album is just more of the same. I think it's indie music I actually really enjoy. It's upbeat and energetic. The vocals match the music, and it's charismatic. It's not like a woe is me soft indie act that I refuse to listen to, so I thought it was surprisingly really good front to back. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I'm glad to hear that you like a rock band. It's really refreshing to hear that.
Contemporary
rock band, right? They're so catchy. I mean, it's kind of crazy because every song, they somehow suck you in. By the time they get to the chorus, they're like flipping words in a way that you're just kind of like, yeah, like whatever is a great example. When they finally get to that chorus, you're just like, oh, like this is such a fucking jam. And I mean, these kids from Auckland, they were these like trained jazz musicians. They went through some really extensive training, and you can tell because while the lyrics are I mean, I wouldn't say that the lyrics are going to blow anyone's mind, but they're also, pretty well written and pretty smart. They just play their instruments so perfectly, like the way that on like was it like River Run Level 1, where they like go in where the drums start kind of taking over right around the chorus, and then they have like the quick guitar refrain. I'm like, oh man, just it's a really exciting album, because I mean, like you said, they had one EP and this is their first one. I feel like the sky's the limit for this band, and it's like one of the first, like, you know, along with maybe like Coastal Blackout, Rolling Fever, or Rolling Fever, Coastal Blackout. Sorry, I had that backwards. And maybe Camp Cope, who also is from Auckland. Like one of the first like new bands I'm actually really excited for, and feel like there's a lot of potential with. I mean, what song stood out to you from this album?
So, you know, I liked Whatever the most, and then I realized Whatever is from that first EP. But other than that, Happy Unhappy I liked as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Happy Unhappy is really good. Man, I mean, I can't really find a song on here I didn't like.
You know?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I agree. Nothing I didn't like. It was good all around.
Yeah, really solid album. Definitely check it out. We'll add probably one or two of the songs to our playlist. Why don't we jump to somebody who's a little bit more established, maybe just as obscure to regular or casual music fans. Mitski dropped her fifth album, which kind of crazy. She's 27, dropping her fifth album. She started in NYC music school. I can't remember what school it was. So dropped two albums in school.
It's 5 albums in 7 years. It's pretty prolific.
Absolutely. And she's a very interesting artist, because I can't really think of a contemporary to her. At times I think I hear St. Vincent, and then at times I hear, like on this album, I heard Casey Musgraves.
There's that disco song. What's it called? Nobody. Yeah, that's definitely Casey.
Yeah. And then I think there's also Me and My Husband, which is kind of like a more folky, country-ish type sound. So she's kind of all over the place. She really like blew up in 2016. A lot of Year Endless had her album Puberty 2, and this was a really highly anticipated album for people who were fans of Mitski, because after Puberty 2, it felt like she could only get better. I'm wondering how you took this album, knowing that you liked the Beths, and they were very, you know, they're very upbeat, fun, catchy. Mitski's kind of the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I listened to Mitski after the Beths too. So I was like, all right, let's go. People like this album.
Yeah.
You know, more of the same. I was like, and I like some songs on here. I don't like the album nearly as much as I like the Beths record, obviously. And like to that point, there are some songs on here where like the songwriting is, you know, pretty solid, but it's just such a mellow song. I just can't get into it, you know, but that's nothing new if anyone knows my taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, I liked what songs I liked. I liked the second was this April and Why Didn't You Stop Me. I thought Why Didn't You Stop Me had really cool production, like the snares, and then like EDM, like underbelly too. So, you know, I like those, but you know, other than that, I'd pick it and, you know, take it and leave it. You know, but you know, I get the hype, and I want to go back and listen to Puberty 2, because I was reading that it's like a more distorted sound. It's a lot different than this new record, Be the Cowboy. So, you know, I definitely see the hype though. It's good. Yeah,
Be the Cowboy. It's very, you know, she doesn't use as much, like you said, distortion, and it's a lot more clear. But there are still moments on this that I think really moved you. Nobody is probably the standout song. Geyser also is really powerful, and I loved Two Slow Dancers. And the thing about all three of those is that they really have such distinct sounds, but I almost think that works in detriment. The fact that she can make these songs that are so different sounding and unique, but it almost made it not flow so well for me at the beginning. It felt pretty choppy. Whereas like the Best, it was like the song ends, another heater starts right up, and it feels like it's almost like, you know, sewn together. This felt a little bit more choppy until it got to around like Me and My Husband, Remember My Name, Coming to the Water, Nobody. I felt like it really started to pick up, but the first couple were kind of tough for me. It's interesting also to think about what her ceiling is as an artist, because she is so artsy and unique. I wonder if she'll ever be able to make an album that will really totally break into the mainstream. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think the early comp you mentioned is probably most realistic. St. Vincent.
Yeah.
You know, something like that where she could become not her fault, but one of the top female headliners at any given festival. You know, certainly see that. But you know, what indie act can truly get mainstream and gigantic these days? It hasn't happened in a while, so that's not her fault. But no, I could see her continuing to get bigger. She's only 27.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think her songwriting is superb, and she plays the piano and the guitar. She plays the hell out of them. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see where Mitski's career continues to go. Definitely go back and check out some of her early stuff because it's slept on a little bit, but it's still really good. No, I don't think she has one bad album. So, Dave, how about you tell us a little bit about this Ariana album? You know, we talked about your guy Mac, and then we got Ariana's Sweetener. Just what, 2 weeks later?
Yeah, shit. No, it's a nice follow up because, you know, I think this is Ariana's 4th album since 2013. That's kind of a lot of music, especially for a pop act as famous and successful as her. She's still really young. I think she's 25, 24, right? And you know, having the Mac Miller breakup kind of be like the, you know, like the detente to her fucking like past year. I mean, she had the Manchester bombing, right, happen at her show, and then the Mac Miller relationship happens, and then this Pete Davidson thing happens, which I'm sure we can get back into. But she's been really in the news. And then, you know, like, I wonder if she's gonna roll out yet again. And then was it No Tears Left to Cry dropped a few months ago, which is on our Spotify playlist. Check it out. And I was like, all right, I'm getting another Ariana album, but I wasn't really sure what to expect yet again, because if you go back for her first 3 albums, I think Yours Truly and My Everything, they have some singles. You know, the singles, they were successful, they were big, but there's not that many deep cuts on there. And then Dangerous Woman, I think, was getting closer. Then we have Sweetener. I think Sweetener is clearly Ariana's best album. Definitely trying a lot of new stuff with Pharrell making a lot of the beats. And I think it's one of the best pop albums we've had this year. I mean, I'm not as enthusiastic about it as, say, Dua Lipa's album from last year. But, you know, thinking back, it's one of my favorite pop records 2018. I think it's, you know, got a lot of cuts on it. I mean, what did you think?
I give Ariana a lot of credit because there's definitely been growth. And similar to Mitski, I think the album didn't flow that well. Now, granted, I'm not the biggest Ariana fan, but I don't really feel like Pharrell is the right producer for her. I feel like Pharrell is so funky.
I saw that take a lot on Twitter. A lot of the Ari stans were like,
really?
Get her away from Pharrell. What is he doing? Blah, blah, blah. But I thought, like, Blazed, for example, I was like, oh, that's, like, exciting because she's just a good vocalist. I don't know. I thought it was different, at least.
I actually felt like the production didn't allow her to show off her vocals as much. Now the beats that Max Martin produced, seemed to be a little bit more traditional for Ariana's sound. And I think that's when I started to kind of feel like, okay, this feels like Ariana a little bit more. But I appreciate her trying. The Light Is Coming, featuring Nicki, felt like Lemon Part 2 to me.
But
and no, not nearly as good. It was like I don't know. Yeah, that because I was listening to the beat. I was like, I just kind of want Rihanna to drop in on this real quick and like liven this up.
I get it how I live it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought Sweetener and No Tears Left to Cry were by far the best songs on this, but I just also felt it was weird near the end to have a song literally named Pete Davidson.
Well, the rest of the album aside, naming a song after your boyfriend of a month is, or fiance of a month, is fucking stupid.
Did you see?
Won't age well.
Did you see those pictures of Pete Davidson in like, I don't know, it was like some like high fashion from like Reebok or something? He looks, I don't know, it looks like a little like vampire or something, or a tall vampire, I guess. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, he's been hanging out with like Machine Gun Kelly recently. It was in one of his videos, and it's like, Pete Davidson, he didn't sell out or anything. He's doing his thing, but going all the way in. Crazy, but I don't know. Like those last 3 songs on Sweetener, you have Good Night to Go and Better Off, you know, songs clearly about the end of her relationship with Mac Miller.
Yeah.
And then Get Well Soon, which is, you know, a song about
moving on,
Manchester bombing.
And, right.
And it's like she's obviously talked about that a lot when it happened last year, but this is the first like song that's been obviously about it. So it's weird that she has then the Pete Davidson songs right there too, which I think is, you know, it sounds pretty heartfelt. You know, I think it was cheesy or anything. I just think calling it that is pretty ridiculous. So to have those like 3 like, you know, well-meaning, well-intentioned lyrical songs at the end. Again,
Pete
like
Davidson.
it doesn't flow because like you have none of that in the rest of the album, right? The rest of the album is her doing her pop shit, her normal stuff. So I agree that the album is maybe a little all over the place, but I think most of it is good. So the title track Sweetener. So you really like that one?
I think it's one of the better songs on the album. I don't know if I like it. I just think it's one of the better songs.
Yeah. So I listen to that song a lot because like I think the song starts out amazingly, her vocals, and then I think that hook sucks.
It's not
like I was like, oh, come on, he ruined it. I thought the rest of the song was great.
Yeah,
it'll probably grow on me anyway because it's catchy.
Yeah,
I really liked REM as well.
I actually that one too. Basically, any song where Ariana got to really like use her pipes. That's kind of what I want from her. Kind of like Mariah Carey or any of those like female vocalists. Obviously, Mariah Carey is the comp to her career wise at this point. But
even right now, like she's not like a Taylor Swift. She's more like a Katy Perry because she can flat out sing. So you want her to do that because that's her strength, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree that she just doesn't stand out as much when she's not showing off her incredible range or incredible pipes, right? So I think that's a fair critique.
It's interesting because when I think about Ariana, I don't really think about her as this like mega superstar, but she's there. Like
she has fucking numbers, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's weird. I almost feel
like she's a capital P pop star.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I think one of the reasons I think about her in that way is because I mean she is a very small person just in general. So it almost kind of like reminds me of like when Justin Bieber went from being like little kid Bieber to like grown up Bieber. I felt like it happened overnight. Like all of a sudden he was having all these issues and like singing sorry. But I also think it's because like it's hard. I find it hard to like take the relationship she's had seriously. I know that's like a weird way to like judge it, but like what T.I., Mac Miller, Pete Davidson,
Big Sean before Mac.
I thought she did T.I., but maybe I'm off. Yeah,
that would be interesting. That's a little older. I mean, she's 25. Yeah. She's older than Bieber. So
I know it's crazy.
But yeah, she's like 5 feet tall, so it's tough to see her as a full woman. I get it.
5 feet tall and with like the voice of a god. It's crazy. Anyways, why don't we move on to a queen, or at least she thinks she's a queen. Nikki Trump.
Shit. Wow, the shots. Coming in.
I mean, she's fine. I don't know. So this Nicki record, right? What, she hasn't dropped one in 3 years? Is that right? 4 years? 4 years. Yeah. And 2014 was the Pink Prit. And I mean, she's been on a lot of tracks. She features a decent amount. But I mean, Nicki Minaj, I kind of understood her more as moving into like, as a pop star. You know, you think about her biggest song is one of the most poppy songs of all time, Starships. Like that is
Anaconda, same shit.
Yeah, right. So when I think about her, I thought about her as moving into this like direction of she's just gonna embrace pop, mix and rap as she needs to, but she really came and tried to make a real rap album, which I give her so much credit for, and I think she actually pulls off most of it. This is a good record. I don't know if I would say great, but it's good. And there's tracks on here that really pop off and like grab you, and I give her a lot of credit for that. But then I see her on Twitter last night, and she's talking like our fucking president, dude, about how these numbers ain't loyal. These Spotify streaming numbers.
Crooked Kylie.
Yeah, Stormy and Kylie, they're plotting against me. I mean, come on, man. First of all, shout outs to Travis Scott. What a brilliant way to game the system.
Oh yeah. Well, let's be real too. Travis Scott did not invent the tour ticket album combo to game the charts. That ain't new. And neither did Nicki adding Fifi to Queen, something that she did. Remember, Drake had Hotline Bling on Views when the shit was like a year and a half old, right? I was like, there are tricks to do that. When you're a big artist, that shit matters to you, and you do that. That's fine. The labels know what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So I don't get the like Kylie tweeted a thing about seeing her baby. Like, bro, you know how hard Kylie tried to make Tyga pop? She's trying to pop again now. Like it's 2011. Now Kylie ain't involved. So it's like the fact that you blame that, no, it's because Travis Scott is fucking popping and Astroworld fucking rules. Like that's the reason. And also, you know, if you want to be actual like realistic here, Nicki did not have a successful single that truly
Right.
lasted leading up to Queen. Chun-Li was her first top 10 hit in 4 years, but it kind of went away after the Big Peep. And Barbie Tings, no one really liked that one so much that's not even on Queen 20 track
Right.
album. It's not even there, right? And then you know, we mentioned the latest coming from the Ari record, Bed, you know, the Return in the Favor, Nicki and Ari. I think again that kind of flopped and that barely made any chart movement. So you know, and that was probably the reason she made the song with 6ix9ine in the first place, because she was chasing his fucking hot streak. And sure enough, that song peaked at I think 4. So you know, she didn't have as much buzz going in, and this, you know, I think the fact that she did 185 without, you know, much of a buzzy single is pretty impressive. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, this is less than Pink Parenthesis, less than Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy, but she has significantly less hype going into this. So I think it's still incredibly, you know, solid debut. But the fact that she's got to like, you know, have a whole rant about Travis, whether she means it or not, she claims she was joking and not really tripping, but whatever. It's not a great look, you know.
She was
And
tripping, bro.
yeah, she was
tripping.
And this is after, remember, a few weeks ago, she chewed out that blog intern for some innocuous criticism. Remember, she DM'd, and then the fucking Barbs, like, you know, went full fucking docs stan culture, right? And it's like, and then a few weeks later, she says all these things about people taking shit too seriously and not knowing how to, you know, just go with it. I was like, how can that be your attitude when you literally attacked the fucking intern in the DMs when she didn't even at you? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
All these things just distract from her music. And you already said it. Queen, more or less, is a good record. I think if we trimmed away 4 or 5 songs, it would be really, really good. But there's all this other bullshit that's a lot of it her doing that's distracting from it. And nothing to say that, you know, there's a lot of male artists that have a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And probably doesn't affect them as much. You know, there's a lot of pressure on Nicki Minaj. The culture makes it that there can't be more than one popping woman in the game right now. And it really seems like they have real beef now. You know, I mean, there's some shots at Cardi on this record, on LLC in particular.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we want to get into the music. Actually, like I think that the record has a lot of great highs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, just to kind of, I don't know, follow up on your thoughts around Nicki's behavior outside of the record, naming it Queen, and then being so affected by, you know, like you said, the opinions of an intern, or like really like Travis pulling the stunt to get his album to #1. Just it feels like you're not as secure as you're making yourself sound. You know, which I think, you know, you talk about the shots she took on LLC and a couple other places on the album. I think she probably does feel some of that heat that you talked about, that there really can only be like one female right now that somehow is holding this status. And it's unfair. You know, you think about someone like Kanye, who has so many problems outside of his work. And then obviously he doesn't do the streaming numbers someone like Drake does, but people still celebrate, and he still captures the moment on Twitter. Whereas
and he does way whacker shit than Nicki does.
Way whacker.
Nicki gets way more hate.
Yep. Let's jump into the music though a little bit, because I think we both feel like this is a good album. Ganja Burns, great start off song in my opinion. Great first track, really pulls you in. And then I hear Eminem, and I'm like, man, I don't really want to hear Eminem anymore, man.
I actually did the first part before we started like going in on his verse. I was like, oh, this is Eminem. That's right. No, this isn't that bad. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then he does his old man Eminem rapping, and I'm like, even if the lyrics are fine, it's like listening to like Lil Wayne now. It's like I just don't want to hear it. I'm not here for it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I heard that 2 tracks later, and I was like, okay. I get it. You're Wayne. Like, you're gonna pull some tricks.
Money, gotta keep it.
Yeah. I thought the song with the Weeknd, though I didn't think it had the highs of all the other songs. I still thought that was a pretty good song. I thought I Knew You. And then I mean, Chun-Li was the one that stood out. I really liked Chun Sway too. I just thought that was a great track.
I think Sway's performance on that beat is really interesting, just because it's it's actually like offbeat by design and it works.
Right.
But the thing that immediately jumped out to me about Chun Sui was that she was ripping off fucking Cardi on Drippin'.
Yeah.
Came through Drippin'. Barbie,
Yeah.
Barbie whipping, Barbie sipping. Like she does it a lot. I was like, it's not that you can't do it, but like it's just such an obvious
Rip off.
like Cardi. Just don't do that, especially when you claim ain't no beef. And that's
Right.
that is a declaration of beef. It's not, but it's just like you're better than you're more talented than that. You don't need to do something so obvious. I prefer the like an LSC where she takes shots at ghostwriters and coming up via notoriety, like popping on the pole and stuff. It's like you want to take shots that way. I think that's good because you're taking shots with your pen. You're not just trying to mimic a song structure that your rival did and do it better. I think it's LSC is a much stronger avenue for that.
Yeah. So what songs stood out to you other than obviously LLC?
Oh, I mean, Barbie Dreams, dog. Dude, that shit was trending right away. Where she has all these hilarious fucking like shots at all the rappers in the game she fucks with, right? Like Drake, Khaled, Thug, Meek. And then she has like little references to people like Fetty Wap and Ray Shremmer. I thought, and the designer line hilarious. Like I thought Barbie Dreams, and again Barbie Dreams, sonically is really cool because it's updating her mixtape cut Dreams, which was interpolating Biggie's Dreams. Remember Dreams of fucking an R&B bitch? Like,
yep.
She's redoing that and then doing like it's because like people immediately took it as like a real diss. It's not really dissing. This is hilarious. This is what rap's about. Just like poking shots at everyone. Like the Odell Beckham line. I think the song is hilarious. And then that's of course it has the Biggie lineage in there. And she actually tweeted about this to clear that up. Like obviously they're not shots,
right?
And then the other song I thought really was dope was Coco Chanel with Foxy Brown at the end.
Yeah.
Another Trinidadian rapper, someone Nicki has openly idolized and been a big fan of. And there's an inner collab before. And to do this where they both, go into that, dancehall adjacent sound that's from where they're from, I thought was dope. And Foxy really brought it.
Yeah, Foxy was great on that track. I mean, I think overall this is a good album. If you had to give one of them the belt, I'm gonna make you hand it out to either Cardi or Nicki. They both dropped an album this year. Who's got it for you?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think they're in such different places in their career that it's like I don't think about one the way I think about the other. Right? Like Invasion of Privacy surprised me, like it surprised everyone. No one really thought it'd be that good. As good as it was, and it's really strong. A lot of cuts on there. And then Nicki comes out, her fourth album. She's been in the game a long time. She's in her mid-30s, and she comes out with a really solid album. A lot of good cuts on here, and that's different than Cardi. Cardi 25, So I Like It is a much bigger hit right now. And the song of the summer candidates. So, I think you got to go with Invasion of Privacy because it's up to this point really lasted longer. Even as Bodak Yellow faded away naturally a year later, right? And because Nicki did all this, again, whether it's fair or not to have it be this affecting, but all this stuff distracting from her record factors in too. So, I would go with Cardi, but, again, as we like to say, it's not a pick one thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Despite what many people try and make it as.
We're just doing it for a podcast, but I mean, you don't have to pick. So just enjoy it. I would definitely give Cardi the belt. I almost think about it in the same way I see like Drake and Kanye almost. I mean, it's not even really a comparison at this point. And I think Nicki, I think Nicki and Cardi are much closer than Drake and Kanye in terms of artist status. But like Kanye might have made Kids See Ghosts, and that album is fucking incredible. But Drake's got like the song of the summer, dude. Like In My Feelings is just dominating. And you go back and Scorpion, people are going to be listening to that way more than anything Kanye produced in that 5-month span. So even though I think I respect Kanye, just like I probably respect Nicki more as an artist, I think Drake's got the belt and Cardi's got the belt right now.
And it's funny, like a lot of like the convo around Queen was that Nicki's really committing to rap again. It's like it ain't no secret that Nicki's a damn good rapper. We've known that since
Monster.
Gotti in 07, and then of course Monster.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned before, she really leaned into the pop sensibility. So I'm excited that hopefully a song from this pops off and does really well, because a lot of it's really rapping. And again, Chun Li already was pretty successful, and that is a lot of rapping. So I
Absolutely.
think this is a good. I mean, a lot of people were thinking this would be a train wreck. It was hardly that. It's a good album, so good for Nicki.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you like any of the songs from the Beths, Mitski, wow, I can't talk right now. The Beths, Mitski, Ariana Grande, and Nicki Minaj, check out our Spotify playlist, Nowstalgia Best of 2018. Give us a follow there and stay updated with all the best songs of the year. And now we're flipping to probably a top 5 movie for me this year. BlacKkKlansman. Spike Lee, dog. Coming in 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, I mean, we talked about that, but it means that a lot of people like this movie at least. I think it's good. But, you got your guy, John David Washington. You got Adam Driver. You got Laura Harrier.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace from the fucking clouds, dude. Venom.
I forgot the name now, but the dude from I, Tonya.
You talking about my guy, Ryan Eggold? Walter?
Him? Yeah, him.
Yeah. All about, yeah. And also Jasper, I'm not gonna pronounce it right. Pekonen. I'm playing Felix.
And Corey Hawkins was in there for a minute in the beginning. I like Corey Hawkins.
I mean, electric performance after electric performance. A very politically charged, racially charged movie. A lot of I think interesting commentary, and Boots Riley penned a letter talking about the problems with this movie. So there's some stuff to dive into there. But I guess just to get, you heard my feelings about this. What are your feelings about BlacKkKlansman?
Yeah, I have a top 3 right now. It's not been hashed out where it's going to land, but that's why I make my list as I go, just so I can think about it more and visualize and change it as I go.
Death of Stalin still one?
No, Death of Stalin is top 5. No, it's in some order. First 3 is First Reformed, Sorry to Bother You, and BlacKkKlansman, with Annihilation and Death of Stalin and Isle of Dogs behind it. But yeah, I think BlacKkKlansman is great, and I think what's so great about it is that it's an accessible movie that is really easy to get in and watch, and then does this thing that's really hard to pull off, where it makes hilarious moments about shit that really isn't actually funny because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Spike Lee's sensibilities really shine with this, because he's a director that I'm actually not as experienced as I'd like to be with. Like Do the Right Thing, 25th Hour, He Got Game. I haven't seen any of those movies. I haven't seen his best movies. I'm embarrassed to say. I've seen his most recent big hit, Inside Man. That's from 06. And, he's made stuff that's totally just not worked, like Miracle at St. Anna. And then he's had stuff like a few years ago, Chirac, which was a critical hit, but got a lot of criticism from Vic Mensa and Chance for its portrayal of Chicago.
Yeah.
But all the film has to be Spike actually came back with Chirac, not BlacKkKlansman. But either way, I think Spike really shines because he's able to craft a movie that you can sit in and you can watch it. And you can have a good time watching it, and then also pick up on this heavy message. And yeah, maybe he paints with a broad brush with a lot of this stuff, but there's so much of that stuff in there. The thing we didn't expect was this is a must watch for Jewish people too.
Yeah, crazy.
I think the whole movie works. It's great.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting because I feel like there's a moment when it all kind of comes together. And I mean, John David Washington, I mean, what a performance, playing Ron Stallworth here. He could have been in Sorry to Bother You, dude.
Fuck yeah.
The way he was presented.
Well, they even mentioned the white voice briefly.
Yeah, exactly. The white voice and the jive voice.
So let me ask you about John David Washington. So I knew of Ballers. I knew Denzel's son was in Ballers. Yeah. Now I actually know his name and I care about his career. But what was your read on him? Because you watched a little bit of Ballers in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I liked him in Ballers. I mean, Ballers isn't a great show in general, so he wasn't working with much
B movie entourage, basically. Right?
Yeah, he was probably one of my favorite parts. He was really enjoyable to watch, and every time he was actually on screen and given something to do, I felt like he did a good job with it. I didn't expect this type of performance from him, which I mean probably just speaks more to what he had to work with and what I've seen him in. But yeah, he blew me away. And then being, beside Adam Driver, who is one of the, I don't, is he even still up and coming or just one of the most well-established best actors in Hollywood at this point?
I mean, we're not going to do this now, but anyone who is a fan of Adam Driver, look at his filmography and look at the fucking laundry list of stud filmmakers he's worked with. The dude's in his mid-30s and he's worked with fucking everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing is, I can't really remember a bad performance. Like,
there's just small roles for him.
Nothing exactly. Yeah, but I think it's the moment when Ron Stallworth approaches Flip and he's like, I don't understand why you don't got skin in this game as well. You like what they say about the Jewish people? And Adam Driver is just kind of like, I got my reasons, but you can see him like in his mind, like kind of turning. And then like a couple scenes later, he's like, I never really thought about my religion before. I wasn't really raised Jewish, but now I think about it all the time. And like when he said that, like I like felt something in my chest and I was like, ooh, this movie is like pulling us in a direction that I think is going to be fucking incredible. And they pull off the ending so well. And man, I mean, there's so much I liked about this movie. The setting, the framing of the shots, the soundtrack. I think about that shot where they had what's his name giving the speech. You said his name before, the actor. Corey
Hawkins.
Corey Hawkins, yes. And it's such a beautifully done shot because there's so much darkness and he just like pops off in that moment. I'm like, wow, like this is making like film for 40 years right here, paying off. Just so much to like, and I feel like those two together, John David Washington and Driver, just electric. What was your favorite performance?
Probably John David Washington, just because he surprised me. I thought Driver, like I've seen Adam Driver have this kind of like second lead role and do it well, so it didn't surprise me. This is just what I expect for him to excel. It's kind of like he's kind of like with Oscar Isaac for me. I just always expect him to be dope. Yeah. John David Washington was so surprising, and he was in 99% of the scenes. Like he had a lot to do. He really had to carry the film. If his performance wasn't good, it wouldn't have worked. So I liked him more. One of the cool touches I thought like brought was it starts off with like Gone with the Wind, and then in the middle we see a lot of A Birth of a Nation, and then obviously it ends with all the Charlottesville and like actual like news highlights to really bring it home. But I really thought the Birth of the Nation scene was really effective because that was when like I was just really uncomfortable and like just like that was like probably one of the hardest parts to watch. I think just watching these, like you really see just how horrible those kind of people are, right? And like that, and it's weird that I felt that way because the whole movie I'm listening to them drop N-bombs and slurs at Jewish people and stuff, and like you're seeing the rhetoric and then it just keeps building, and that's a few scenes later there's funny moments. So it's just like, and that's I think a big part of this too was Topher Grace. I thought was really good as David Duke. He's talked about how he it put him in a bad place for a little bit, having to try and get in that headspace and portray such a horrific figure, but yeah, I think it was really well thought out, and I think some people like, oh well, it's too in your face and too obvious. So I was like, I think that kind of stuff needs to be, and the rest of the movie I think still works. Like it still flows really well. So I don't care how obvious the message is,
No, and I think it's a testament to Spike Lee. You touched on this a little bit, that he's able to make you feel so many different things. Like I really left with like I felt like my son was kind of swirling a little bit because I was thinking about all these funny parts, and then all these parts I felt so uncomfortable with the hatred being portrayed, and so just like disappointed with our society. You talked about how he kind of tied in Gone with the Wind with Birth of a Nation with recent clips from Charlottesville, and it really just brings everything more to light. And I think making it in your face is actually a really good thing, and it it's a really good thing because people could have gone into this and seen it just as like kind of like what I think Tarantino was trying to do with like
Django.
Django or Inglorious Bastards, even, where it's like, you know, you're taking a historical thing and you're just putting a twist on it and telling the story. And I mean, what can you really take away from those things other than slavery's bad, those people were monsters, but this really made you like look at yourself. It made you look at the rhetoric we hear now. I mean, how many times did you hear America first? And I just thought about Donald Trump saying America first.
Yeah.
Like so many like things that they dropped in there that were so well done and so smart. And it really, I think if you can go into that movie and leave not feeling conflicted, at least a little bit, you really should do some introspection on yourself.
Yeah, and the story takes place in Colorado Springs, right?
Right.
Not
area
everyone's first thought of, you know, post Reconstruction, you know, 20th century racism, right? So yeah, it's really really important to watch, but I also think like people get away. It's not like a movie like, say, like Mudbound, we talked about last year and we both really liked. Mudbound just gets fucking heavy, right? And is really good at it, and there's a lot of good performances. Mudbound's a heavy fucking film. This is a little different than that, and that's why I think it's accessible. You can watch this and you can be entertained almost all the time, but it's also going to, again, like you said, have those moments where you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that the marriage of the two, I think, is really impressive, and that's credit to Spike.
Yeah, I also just shout out the soundtrack, like the soul soundtrack and the dance scenes in it. I thought were all like just capture you in that moment. It's really amazing. Huge testament to that movie. Please check out BlacKkKlansman. I think he'll be on both of our best of the year lists. Crazy Rich Asians, box office darling, dude. This thing is a monster. And obviously, other than making a lot of money and being a very successful movie, it's very successful with a cast that is majority Asian. It's, I mean, I don't think there's any title role that's not Asian. If I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think how many white people actually saw in it.
Yeah, it's the first Hollywood film with a majority Asian cast since 1993. You know, in a contemporary setting, the only time you get like a lot of Asian people in a Hollywood film is when it's set in the far past, involving kung fu, involving the Japanese in World War II. You know, like it's pretty limited. So the fact that you just get Asian people, period. You know, like, there's movies about black people, but Asian people, like Asians, are the minority in Hollywood that like are often overlooked, right? Like we've talked about it here and there, like Ghost in the Shell and The Foreigner, or even stuff like Iron Fist, or
21.
Watched, and Ancient One, Doctor Strange, right? Like
right.
Moments of this, and then there's the other side to it, right? There's like, well, that role could have been an Asian role, but we'll write a white role instead, like The Great Wall, or The Last Samurai, famously, right? Or The Foreigner recently with Jared Leto. So like, there's stuff like that, and obviously we have the past racism towards Asian roles, like 16 Candles, for example, right? So, with all that, recently there's been more, you know, talk about it. People are getting it, or we're getting there. Like Constance Wu was on the cover of Time magazine regarding Asians the other day, right? And Alan Yang talked about representation for Asians when he accepted the Emmy for Master of None. We always remember the Asians on TV episode from season 1, which was superb. So, you know, there's been momentum to, you know, people, it's not a secret anymore, right? Or it's not like, you know, there's the Asian echo chamber, no one's listening, right? Yeah. But then the fact that this movie actually happens, is successful, is proof that, you know, if there's an audience for an Asian cast, shocker, right? Right. It's so great. And I think credit to the movie's success is the director, John Chu's decision to not take the Netflix money, right, and put it in a traditional release. Because he was given he was greenlit a trilogy on Netflix with creative control, and there's guaranteed eyeballs on Netflix, obviously, especially if they were going to promote it. But he wanted he understood the meaning, and he went with a traditional release through Warner Brothers, and, you know, credit to him. But, you know, on top of that, you're like, oh, but is the movie good? You know, is it worth all this hubbub, or is it just a token thing? No, I think it's a really good, fun rom-com. You know, and rom-coms are not as popular or, you know, present as they once were. So, you know, it's filling a hole.
Right. I think you laid out all the importance of why the majority Asian cast matters and why it's so important. But the fact that not only do they have a majority Asian cast, but fucking rom-com in 2018 that's this successful is a huge testament to this movie. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't say this is going to be one of the best movies of the year. It's a rom-com. It's not supposed to be up there with, like the Oscar beat, but it's fun. It moves. And you really find yourself rooting for the people by the end, which is the most important thing in these sort of movies. And it's got enough moments where you're really like drawn in and feel actually some emotional like ties to it. Like by the end, I was like heartbroken for Rachel, like the way that the mom kind of tore her apart, and then that mahjong standoff. I was like, God damn! Like,
I want to learn how to play that game.
So I left. Me and Julianne left being like, we got to play that. Like, we gotta go find a mahjong room. Real quick, Aquafina, was she trying to do a Miley Cyrus impression?
That's a good question. Yeah, I wasn't expecting her to play it that way, but yeah, because like that's not how she normally talks. We just saw her in Ocean's 8.
No,
so that was a choice.
But
I liked her. I thought she pops. She's a funny, energetic presence.
Absolutely, no, she's electric. I was kind of distracted by how Miley Cyrus like the whole thing was,
especially with the blonde wig. Wow, I didn't think of that, but that's spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, so talk to me about some of the scenes in the movie that stood out to you that you really liked, or performances.
So yeah, I think you the end scene with basically anything when it's Constance versus Michelle Yeoh, right?
Yeah.
Any of that stuff is great. I think the way they build up that tension is done well because it's really subtle, and then they have that face off, and John Chu actually talked about this. He's like, yeah, we understood a lot of Western audiences probably wouldn't understand the rules of the game, but like you'll get the idea, you get the meaning, and the fact that Constance Wu, what was her character's name?
Rachel.
The fact that Rachel had the winning hand and gave it up as like a symbol of, hey, I got my man, but I'm gonna give it up because I want to fuck up his family.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really effective. And then even before that, I thought everything with Aquafina and her family was just great,
hilarious.
Ken Jeong, small role, but he was awesome. The stuff I saw some people like really praising this, but the only thing I didn't really like was like the Astrid subplot. Like, there's a lot of threads with characters, and like this is a trilogy of books, so we assume we'll get the sequel soon announced. But I just didn't think it just seemed kind of boilerplate to me. Like, I didn't. Anytime we weren't revolving around the main couple and like the family argument, I didn't like. But thankfully, it didn't happen too much.
The Astrid plot
as well. It's a rom-com. What do you know?
The Astrid plot I thought could have gone either way. I mean, I think I liked seeing her character grow a little bit, but you have an actress like Gemma Chan who, I mean, seemed like she was electric. Every time she's on the screen, I couldn't help but stare at her. And then you give her so little like emotional work to do and just these little moments. But I guess it's also probably somewhat cultural. It's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing, but yeah, I mean, I think I liked more than anything just like the scenes that were like ridiculous, but not like super ridiculous. Like, for example, like all the stuff with Jimmy O Yang, I thought I couldn't stand his character, and I guess you're probably not supposed to like him, but like I didn't even find it funny. I was so just like, man, fuck this. Like,
and that was the thing, because I was like, when he starts off, I'm like, Jimmy O Yang is here, small role.
Yeah, here we go.
Heat, and he did start slinging heat. The problem was he started hitting people.
Yeah,
and I was like, fuck, this is kind of a misfire. And yeah, that's disappointing, but whatever. It didn't make or break the movie. What did you feel about Nick? Swaggy P, Nick Young.
Henry Golden.
Yeah, he's new, by the way. This is his first role, which is kudos to him. He used to be a host of like travel shows every so good on him. But what did you think about Nick? I thought, like, again, it's Rachel's movie, not his movie.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought he was fine. He played the role he was supposed to play. He was, a good guy, willing to go either way, and kind of caught in the middle. The only thing I I just can't get over the fact that they dated for like at least a year. You know, that's established. Probably more like a year and a half, 2 years. And not once was he ever like, yo, my family is kind of wealthy and well off and famous. Like, even when you're going, like bringing her there, you're just gonna like throw her into the fire. It makes no sense to me. And I just like can't wrap my head around that at all.
Yeah. And like they kind of just explain it away too. Oh, he's famous in Singapore,
Right.
famous in America. Yet those people that knew who he was were there in the diner, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so, but you never noticed anyone take a picture of him? Anyone look at him? There's a lot of Asian people in New York City. It's pretty plausible that he would have been recognized a few times in your presence, right? Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. That whole, and then like he really just like to be a normal person with her. But then as soon as he's going back, it's like, oh well, here's our like fucking capital first class flight. Oh,
right.
Don't worry about it. I was like, what? I'll suspend my disbelief. Whatever. It's fun.
Yeah. Also, one of my favorite things to laugh at afterwards is when they're on the bachelor party and they just go to this random dock in the middle of nowhere. They're in fucking international waters. First of all, who put this dock out there? And second, he's just like, oh, looks like glad those flying lessons came in to play. I was like, what? Like, and he landed on like an uneven landing spot. I was just like, there's so much wrong with this. But you know, it's a rom-com. It's one of those things you can kind of suspend belief on, and like the princess just being like an economic like nerd somehow, so they can just like hit it off. Just right. So random. But yeah, no, I mean the rom-coms are hard movies to hate just because you know they really hit you in the good feels most of the time. It almost always ends up happy, and this movie did that, and it's not only an achievement for you know what it means for minority casts and specifically Asian casts, but just bringing the genre back. See some more of these movies made to fill in those gaps a little bit. We talk about those art films and the blockbusters, and these are good middle of the road films for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Chu, you know, fresh off.
Yep.
They announced he's directing a 10-episode mystery series for Apple, starring Brooklyn Prince, the young lead from the Florida Project. So
nice.
Sounds like a solid follow-up for sure. I mean, if you look at the data on this, the audience was 38% Asian.
That's great.
Which there hasn't been a movie with that big of an Asian audience percentage in like over 3 years, you know? And, you know, we've had Black Panther, we've had Coco, and now we have Crazy Rich Asians. I mean, it's great to see. And it's even better, even more important that these movies, all three of them, happen to be good, you know?
Yeah.
And worth seeing, worth talking about. So yeah, I think, like you said, won't be on my top 10, but you know, I mean, what rom-com has a chance of doing that these days? You know, it's not. There's something about Mary, so you know,
exactly.
It's tough to do that. But again, that's not this movie's job.
One last question, at least regarding this movie. After seeing how well this cast worked, do you feel like the criticism that Isle of Dogs received is more fair now, or do you feel like the discussion hasn't really changed by the
right? So I think Isle of Dogs. It's interesting to think about that again, because the criticism of Isle of Dogs was that it was something that Nicki Minaj does. It's the fetishization of Asian culture, where like Nicki just decides to be Chun-Li, you know, and take Asian shit when she wants, you know, and Wes Anderson really loves, you know, Kurosawa and loves Japanese culture. So he's going to make this movie where all these dogs are voiced by white guys, whatever they're dogs. But, you know, it's when there's stuff that's being played for laughs, that's kind of stereotypical, right? So, like, it's not that, like, Isle of Dogs isn't an affront, but that's kind of like the next level stuff that you have to understand. It's like Isle of Dogs and, like, Last Samurai, you know. Like, obviously, we know the 16 Candles shit's bad. That should never happen again.
Yeah.
But it's the other stuff where it's like Asian people are props. Like in the Great Wall, Damon goes to fight with the Asian people, right? Like, it's that stuff that you have to get past. And I think, you know, unfortunately, Wes Anderson is going to continue. People like Wes Anderson will have the wherewithal, the ability to make movies like that if they want. I don't think that's going to change overnight or anything. But I think it's worth talking about. There's a lot to this. And on the other side of the coin, there's some criticism of Crazy Rich Asians. This isn't a movie about all Asians. Normally could it be, right? It's really about East Asians.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not. There's more to be done on that front. But,
absolutely. It's a conversation we'll be having, probably be talking about as we wrap up the end of the year and talk about a lot of the trends that happened in movies in Hollywood. So a lot of really positive steps forward, a lot of steps forward in a lot of discussions, not only Asians, but racially, with BlacKkKlansman and in terms of religion as well in that movie. So definitely check those movies out. We recommend them. And check out our Nowstalgia playlist, like we said, to hear songs from the Beths, Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, and Mitski. Follow us, soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod. Hit us up somewhere down below for that subscribe button. What do we got next week for the people, Dave?
Next week, we'll be coming with some surprises, but stuff to keep an eye out for. Sharp Object wrapping up. We talked about that premiere on HBO, so we'll chime back in on that. Only an 8-episode miniseries, so easy to catch up if you're behind. Shout out to Amy Adams. And then the only record I'm really looking out for, I mean, we got the Interpol record. Maybe we'll talk about that. But I'm interested about this Mai Tai record, Jeremiah and Ty Dolla $ign, because Ty Dolla $ign is the fucking feature of the summer on everyone's record, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to get some more Ty. So we'll see how that goes. Jeremiah in the news, not for the best reasons recently. Tiana Taylor just left the tour because apparently he's a dick. But we'll talk about the record anyway and some other stuff.
Yeah.
But subscribe on YouTube. Help us out.
Yeah, hit us up. We love you. Give us any feedback you want at Nostalgia Pod on Twitter. We like hearing from you guys. See you next week.